Why do so many men on the internet seem to have a hard time listening to women complain about dating without retaliating? But not just men. Why does it seem like whenever men's issues are brought up, women have such a hard time taking it seriously? In this video, we're going to dive into the reasons that a lot of you, especially if you're below the age of 25, will resonate with. But that's not all. I'm also going to tell you the hidden reason that no one seems to see that you can use to connect with the other gender much deeper than before. So why do so many men on the internet seem to have a hard time listening to women's problems? Well, after looking through hundreds of comments and videos, I found one theme that seems to explain their perspective. Unacknowledged privilege. So, what does this look like? It's the social benefit given to women when expressing their frustrations and having those feelings validated and supported. If you're a woman watching, you might think, how am I validated and supported? I feel like the default position men take on the internet is to invalidate whatever I say and dismiss it completely. The thing is, the perceived privilege is not from how men on the internet see your problems, but rather what society seems to deem non-controversial. It's about how a man complaining about a woman possessing a negative trait may get him labeled as weird, toxic, an incel, or whichever, whereas a woman complaining about a man's negative traits seems to be less condemned. The point of this, though, is not to cast blame, as none of the men or women around you created society to be like this. It's more to give humanity, empathy, and understanding to the men who seem to have this frustration. Back to the unacknowledged privilege. The reason being able to voice your complaints without condemnation looks like a privilege is because of how men and women are socialized to relate to their emotions. Most men grow up with the experience that expressing your feelings is a weakness. And not only is this understood conceptually, but there's actually a feeling of weakness when expressing their emotions. There's actually this feeling of fear when it comes to sharing something that might be seen as vulnerable, because what might come up is the idea that if you're to express this emotion, you will be seen as weaker. You will be seen as less than. You will be too vulnerable, and as a result, you'll make people uncomfortable, and they're not going to want to be around you, or they'll see you as less than for expressing that thought or that feeling. So when you see a woman expressing their feelings more openly, without having the same condemnation, there's almost this reflective experience of, I can't express the same thing. It's like your mirror neurons activate, like your empathy circuits activate. You see someone expressing something which, when you try to relate and feel into it, you feel this blockage. You feel this sense of, oh, I'm not allowed to do that, so it feels weird to see. It feels odd to see someone able to express themselves like that. And even if you can empathize with them, the idea of doing it yourself just feels so much more scarier. Like there's all these barriers in the way to doing so. Essentially, when seeing women go through issues men see as something they typically just have to shut up and handle, it's foreign to see that issue validated as well as the emotions behind it. And this is because men's default isn't to validate and see the emotions they experience as legitimate and worthy of attention or validation, but to dismiss the emotion and to see any excess pain caused by it as a reflection of their own weakness and inability to handle a situation rather than a valid experience.